Welcome to episode 4 of Two Expats Abroad, where today we are going to talk about breaking the comparison cycle. Kieran, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Really looking forward to this episode. It's something that I'm incredibly mindful of, and I think I would like to encourage others to be as well.
Yeah. Now, you've done me a real good solid over the last while. You've given me the ability to look at my social media and to be able to influence the algorithm. And I can safely say that I would say better habits in terms of my more conscious consumption.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if that is something that you or whoever kind, but I think that is something that we should really focus on, because a lot of the time people are comparing themselves to what they see on social media. And sometimes that can be really dangerous. Sometimes it can be good.
Yeah, 100%. And that's what I really want to reiterate is that as long as you're using it as a fuel for good, rather than a fuel for negativity and anger and frustration and guilt and shame, like comparison and conscious consumption can be a good thing. But you've got to be really mindful of what's triggering those thoughts and those beliefs and those feelings. And if it is guilt and shame and embarrassment that you're not where they are, then unpick that. And if it's no longer serving you, that's something that you obviously alluded to there, conscious consumption. And I personally, and I made some changes, I think even this morning or yesterday night, I muted so many people's stories because I'm watching stories of people doing completely different things to me, and it's just not serving me. So, for example, property people, I might be following 200 property people on my social media, and 50 of them are doing HMOs, 50 of them are doing service accommodation, 50 of them are doing apartment blocks. And I'm like, I want to do that, and I want to do that because the people doing apartment blocks, he's driving a Porsche, and the person doing a HMO, he's driving a Range Rover, and it's like, you got maybe them two are the more successful strategies. So you end up just kind of like sitting in this constant overthinking, and I would describe it as overthinking. Am I doing the right thing? Should I be doing what they're doing? Do I want what they've got? Do I want what they've got? And you end up just going in through vicious circles. So what I do is my social media is incredibly boring. I've just got kind of 6 or 7 people that I truly, truly value and look up to, and I'm inspired by, and they've got what I want, and I know that I can get what they've got because they've been on a similar trajectory. So that's how I would describe conscious consumption is just almost like curating your own feed, following the people that you truly want to follow, that you either want to stay in touch with from a social perspective or you're inspired by. But don't compare your chapter 1 to their chapter 20 and get like frustrated and beat yourself up because you're not where they are yet.
So I see a lot of that, right? I work with clients who they'll come with some idea that I know hasn't originated from them. It's coming from something they've seen online, and they're like, I want this. And then when you dig into that idea, usually it's not very well formulated or very mature. It's like, I would like a Lamborghini, I would like a big house, I would like 3 children. And it's like you dig into it. It's like, where are you with that stuff? It's like, well, I'm nowhere near it. So where does it come from? Oh, well, I've seen, a few things on Instagram. And so a lot of people are taking stuff that is giving them a sense of the materialistic view of what it is that they want without the understanding of how to create it in their own life. And in some ways, envy can be a driver for good things, but sometimes it can be a really demotivating thing that makes people go, don't know if I can get that, don't know if I can do that. It puts doubt in their mind. And as you said, a lot of the time people have their feeds on social media curated so that you only see the highlight reel and you don't see what's actually going on, the work and the effort that people put in to get where they are and what they have. And that's the gold, I believe, because if people had seen the blood, sweat, and tears that goes into creating a business, acquiring wealth, you know, through property or whatever it is that they do, that's
They might not want it.
yeah, they might exactly.
I say this to Martino all the time. Like, obviously, people reach out to me and they want to potentially get involved with property, and it's like I always kind of tell them on the first or second or within the first few phone calls or questions, it's like, trust me, it's really not easy. Like, being fully self-employed isn't easy either, because you've constantly got to be thinking of where the next opportunity is, or where the next paycheck's going to come from, or have I completely covered all of our expenses and stuff. So, like, I'm not afraid to admit that obviously it's enduring, and there's tears shed, and there's blood, sweat, tears, as you describe it, and like, you don't see that on Instagram. People don't. Some people do, and they do it incredibly well, actually, and I always respect them for it. But a lot of people just, you know, I was guilty of it during lockdown. I think I was following footballers, and obviously they're not experiencing the same lockdown as I am. They're on the yachts. They're in hot countries.
Yeah.
They're like in their huge with the swimming pool and all of that. And it's like, why am I following these people? These people are so out of reach for me, and I'm beating myself up that I haven't got the life that they've got. Whereas actually, what can I change now? What can I do in this moment to get me one step towards the things that I want, not what they've got? And I guess it comes back to, again, with the comparison cycle, it's understanding yourself, it's self-awareness, it's introspection again, around what do I want to achieve? What do I want to have in my life in the next kind of 5 years? And working, chipping away at it and working at that. But it's so true about beneath what you see, there's probably blood, sweat, tears, things that you probably don't want. Because if you get everything that they've got, you have to get everything. You can't have one without the other. So it's like, don't unhealthily compare yourself.
Yeah. So you taught me some interesting strategies for that. I didn't know that you could mute people. Boomer. But I literally didn't know that you could do some of the things that you taught me that you could do. And that changed a lot of the things that I was getting.
So have you started to do that now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you muted me?
No. Never mute you. Come on.
I muted you. No, but it's interesting because even the concept of muting people, you still follow them, which is crazy, isn't it? Because like, you've obviously gone out of your way to mute them, so why are you following them? But that's the social thing again. It's like, you don't want to unfollow them through risk of them saying, oh, he's changed. He's gone on to do this and now he's unfollowed me and now he doesn't want anything to do with me. So it's like, no, actually, I do really still respect you and value time spent with you, but I don't need to see what your kid's having for breakfast or what holiday you've gone on. Like, I'm in my phase of life and I'm doing my things and I'm concentrating on myself. And then, you know, if I see you in the pub in a few months' time, like, let's chat, let's have a drink, let's have a good time. But I don't need to see everything that you're doing in life. And it's the same for me. If people want to mute me, like, that's absolutely fine.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, you just want to be engaging and taking in the things, in my opinion, that are moving you forward.
Yeah. And you know, I know that you like this guy, Jim Rohn. He talked about you become the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with. And this kind of works on social media, because if whoever's in your orbit on your social media and you're getting their stuff, you're going to be exposed to those ideas more and more, and you're going to build habits related to the stories that you're looking at and the content that you're looking at. So it's really good idea to understand within yourself, where am I aiming? Where am I moving towards? Who do I want to be the average of? What does that look like? And who are those people that are going to get me there?
It's so true, because like, if your feed is curated to be a lot of friends in your social circle that you go out with, drink with, party with, and on a Friday they might, I don't know, on a story they might share that they're watching Netflix or going out or binge eating takeaway food or whatever every single weekend, you're probably going to go, oh, that's the norm, I'm going to do that as well. But then if you was to mute them and follow somebody that was, say, I don't know, working on themselves on a Friday night instead of going out. Or obviously you still got to socialise and enjoy yourself, but what I mean is
Good habits.
Good habits. Sacrificing some of their evening time to journal, to...
You do this really well, actually. You show some of the stuff. Like, I know that you work with a guy called Sam, and you go on to a brainstorming space. I think that's available for you every night, or...
Yeah, so Sam hosts a session every morning at 6:50 in Poland, but obviously 5:50 for most of his UK kind of community. And like, I just think everybody should have a Sam in their life, and I think I said that last night. Is he holds you accountable to what you say you want from life?
Yeah,
so
excellent.
If you're telling a friend, and you've got, I've had an accountability partner for years now, and it changes and comes and goes and stuff, but I've always had one. And it's me basically telling a friend who's like-minded that this is what I want to achieve this year. And if you see me dropping the bag, just hold me, just tell me, pull me up, let me know. And that's ultimately what Sam does for 100 people in his community. And that's obviously what we're trying to encourage people to do, is get around like-minded people, reach out to us, drop us a question, and ultimately let's hold each other accountable to the things that we say that we want to do.
That's so important. Like, accountability it's really the golden ticket for growth, because it's one thing saying that you want to go in a certain direction, but when you know that there's somebody who has an eye on you, that's positive comparison, by the way. That's using your community to really leverage yourself and what it is that you put out into the world to say, this is what I'm going to do. If you see me slacking off, let me know. Because there's a zing, there's an internal sort of, oh, I don't like that. Oh, I didn't follow through on my word. It's integrity. And if you're not following through on those things, it hurts, like it should.
Yeah. And again, talking about communities, it's like when you eventually get yourself in a group of like-minded people that want to achieve the things that you want to achieve, they might be 3 or 4 steps ahead, but you realize that they're not too dissimilar to you.
Yeah.
They've still got fears. They've still got doubts. They've still got weaknesses, strengths. And you start to realize that actually I bring just as much value to the table as they do. They've just been doing it a little bit longer.
Exactly.
Or they've been surrounded by the right people for longer than I have. So that quote that you mentioned about Jim Rohn and being the average of the 5 people you spend the most at, I am so like committed to that, and making sure that I'm surrounded by people that are leveling me up rather than dragging me back to kind of maybe, misery or self-doubt, or like actually a friend who's saying, why can't you build that business? Why can't you invest in that asset? And that's what I want to be for other people, and why I've obviously kind of partnered with yourself as well, is that like you're got way more depth from a psychology point of view and reading, and obviously you've got the hard years of studying behind you, and you can help change people's lives, and that's what I had in my life. I was very fortunate, and I want other people to have that. I want all of my friends to be phoning me and benefit from my network. Like someone phoned me last week and I put them in touch with you straight away, didn't I?
Yeah.
And hopefully they've taken great value from that. I'm sure they have. And that's exposure to the right people, and being around people that want to see you win as well. Because some friends don't want to see you win. They don't want to see you break from the norm, because that's then a reflection on themselves potentially.
Yeah, I don't know if you've ever heard of the term tall poppy syndrome.
No.
Very common in, I would say, post-colonial societies. Like it's popular in Ireland big time. When somebody gets above their station, there's a whole community of people ready to pull them back. This is very common in Ireland. And I've heard it's very common in New Zealand and Australia. And it's kind of an ugly thing where that there's people out there just pining for you to be unsuccessful. So that's kind of what that is. And, you mentioned earlier about muting people online. I think it's also good to recognize if there's people out there that are actively not in your corner. Bye. I've started to do that a lot lately. And It feels good. Feels really good.
Yeah, that's something that I was speaking to a friend yesterday, and she's incredibly good at doing that. And I have so much respect for people because I personally struggle with that. I think I struggle with just recognizing, are they truly in my corner, and if they're not, like you say, almost letting them go. Yeah, don't
Yeah,
think.
I know it kind of can be difficult at the start, but once you do it and you feel the benefit from it, there's no looking back.
I know to the contrary, having somebody that's truly in your corner
Yeah.
is the most kind of refreshing feeling ever. It's like they actually want to see me win, and they'll go out of the way to help me and introduce me to people. Like that is literally what I've done, for a few friends recently by putting them in touch with you. I want to see them win, so I want them to have a coach in their life, like I had a coach in my life. Because I think that can be game changing. Even just we've spoken about it on previous episodes. Is even just the introduction of journaling. If there was a percentage, I'd say that there's less than 5% of the population that journal, but it's
Probably less than that, I would say.
game changing.
Yeah, it is. It really is a game changer. But introspection in this, you don't just have to journal. It can be, doing some breathing exercises. It's allowing yourself to just sit with your thoughts and become more self-aware. I truly believe that writing that down and cataloging it somewhere is the most important, to be able to then reflect on it at a later date. But just to take time to hear what's going on, what's happening in the noise of my head. It's very important. I'm very powerful.
Because within that, you will be comparing yourself, even in your thoughts, but you become crystal clear clearer on why am I comparing myself to that person.
Yeah, and it might be some piece of content that they've consumed that they have a story in their head. Okay, this person's doing this. Could I do that? Is there something about what they've done that I could do? And they may have gone to the end of their book to look at, okay, that's what they're doing there. And they're comparing themselves right now, having not done all of the work that the other person has done. And that's not really fair. And that can be really demotivating as well for someone to look at the end result of someone's long journey, and they're thinking about starting a journey and saying, will I be able to do that? Well, I think it was Henry Ford that says, whether you think you can or you can't, you're right.
Mm-hmm.
And that's true. Like if you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, well, then it's going to be very hard for you to achieve those things.
Well, one thing I'd always say as well with comparison and if you think you can, then you can, is reach out to that person that you're kind of looking at and either a little bit envious of or a little bit frustrated that you're not in that. Don't just reach out to one person. Reach out to maybe 10 people because maybe the first one won't reply, and then you'll take the hit and you'll feel gutted or frustrated about it. So actually reach out to 10. I bet one of those 10 will reply to you and give you 5 minutes of the time, and then that'll just snowball, and they might introduce you to somebody else. So if you are comparing yourself to somebody's chapter 20 when you're at chapter 1, reach out to them, ask them for support, and try and get around people that can lift you up.
Yeah, a lot of the time people put themselves off the scent of doing that because they have all sorts of beliefs that, I'll be a pest, I'll be annoying, a nuisance.
I'm going to sit here today and tell you, get rid of that thought straight away. Like when I first joined, it was the 5 a.m. club years ago, hosted by D. Ludlow, and I remember seeing some serial winners in there. Like they were 5, 6, 7, 8 years ahead of me in their business journey. And I just thought, I want to be in that group. And I was just curious. So that's one of the biggest things that I always say to people is like, stay curious, like ask questions. Don't feel like you're being a pest. Get rid of that thought, because those people with one little nugget of information can change your life. And I'll never forget that my first ever business came off the back of, it was the 5 a.m. club. So I knew I wanted to be in property. There was loads of property investors in this community. I joined, it was something like £30 a month, I think, which is something that most people can afford. £30 a month, you're in there, and now you feel like you can ask them. So that's another thing. If you feel like you're being a pest, sometimes just say that you'll grab them dinner or grab them coffee with them. Like, it might be a £5 coffee, but you'll get a nugget of information from them, or it might be a £50 dinner, or it might be a £30 a month subscription.
Yeah.
But get yourselves in rooms with people that you're comparing yourself to and you want to be or want the things that they've got.
I can't remember who said this, but they said, be the most stupid person in the room.
Yes. Someone literally said that to me yesterday, and I was like, I said that you're wise. To know that is wisdom.
But a lot of people stop themselves because there's this sense that, oh, I don't want to be seen as being stupid. I don't want to be, undermined, or, whatever belief. There's some limiting belief behind that to say, oh, I'm not going to do that. But being vulnerable and being the, quote, stupidest person in the room, it's really shorthand for saying you want to be surrounding yourself with high flyers so that you can gain the benefits from being around them, because you're going to get lots of secondary gains by being in their company. You're going to learn a lot about all sorts of wealth creation, psychology, whatever it is.
Yeah, and if you're the most intelligent person in the room, you're not necessarily.
Yeah, there's a tendency to plateau.
Yeah.
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 And that's dangerous for your growth.
Yeah. That actually, I probably don't give it that as much recognition as it deserves in my life. That I have always been, arguably, even the community that I'm part of now, like, there's some serious hitters in that community, and I'm just like, and you start to recognize that I've got similar traits to them.
Yeah.
I've got similar ambitions, and there's no reason why you can't get to where they've got. And I probably don't give that as much weight as it actually has. Again, it's coming back to the Jim Rohn thing. You are the average of the 5 people you spend your time with.
Yeah.
So be the stupidest person in the room.
Yeah.
Ask questions from people that are levels and levels ahead of you. If you want to get there.
Yeah. And a really important question to ask is, what am I measuring myself against? What's the actual standard here? Because if you're a lot of people are doing, and social media is really bad for this, because it will flash up, the algorithm will flash up things that is like, look at this person on a yacht with, everything, apparently. But what is that? Like, break that down. What's the standards that is moving you towards wanting all of that? Like, what actually is going on there? Because that's, how often will that happen in that person's life? Can you be on a yacht all the time and just be like making it rain with the dollar bills? Is it really like, is that the be all and end all? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
What's the standards that you're actually aiming at with that desire? And that's really important to ask.
And
because
what do you have to sacrifice to get there as well?
Yeah.
Because I know for a fact I'm not willing to sacrifice some of the things that person might have done. Like, I'm more than happy with with a self-built house, with a garden patch,
Exactly,
growing my own vegetables,
right,
being nutritional.
Yeah, but that's important, right? Your standard is not that sort of materialism standard where you're just aiming at the Lambo, the yacht, and all that sort of stuff. No. You're looking for some deeper wholesomeness, and
they usually are status symbols 9 times out of 10. Because even if you have an abundance of wealth, you don't necessarily have to drive the flashy car that's going to grab everybody's attention. Do you know what I mean? You can have a comfortable car.
Yeah.
That's one thing that's really important to me. I've grown to realize is just being comfortable.
Yeah.
Like, just being like, and then you get to a certain level of comfort and you're like, no, I need to be uncomfortable again. And then bring it back.
Exactly, because your values will always drive you forward and say, you're not actually living your dream. You might be living someone else's dream. You've put your ladder up against somebody else's wall for too long, and you've climbed their ladder. Okay, boring. Now what am I doing? And you have to go inward and look at yourself and say, what is it that I actually want here? Because a lot of people aren't asking that question, unfortunately. And social media really drags us in that direction. It says, look at me, what I'm doing. That's great. You could have this, but do you really want that?
Do you want the warts and all?
Yeah.
Do you want everything that it takes to get there? Because honestly, I would say that most people, or a lot of people, would not want the periods of uncertainty that I've had in the last 5 or 6 years. And, pulling your hair out, the tears, that you've put all of your money into a property asset and like you're hoping that it comes out. And obviously it has always worked out. And we've managed to get through unscathed and not make many mistakes. But again, that's because you're surrounding yourself with the right people. Doesn't mean that you're not riddled with doubt, and because you've got none of your friends and family are doing those things sometimes. So yeah, it's you might not want what they've got when you strip it back and realize the sacrifices. So become attuned to what you truly want.
Yeah.
Not what they. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I don't know if you've ever listened to Tristan Harris. I think it was a movie, The Social Dilemma, I think it was called.
Yeah. I've watched that.
Yeah. So the algorithm is feeding you FOMO. That's what is, that's what social media is. It's like, you should be anxious because you're missing out on all of this great stuff. And that is bullshit. You decide what you're missing out on, because your desires and wants and needs come from you, not what is out there. And that's the trick, unfortunately, social media plays. So you got to first of all realize what's all this FOMO about? Why am I being hooked into this comparison cycle? Why am I doing that? In terms of calls to action, what can people do? I know for one thing, they can definitely curate a better feed, and you're good at that. So maybe you might speak on a little bit of that.
Yeah, definitely curate your feed. Follow people that align with your values and align with where you want to go in the direction you want to take. I think another one is get around like-minded people. Get a community of winners. That's something that we're hoping to build here as well. So reach out to us, inquire about it, and yeah, let's ultimately share experiences and make sure that you are getting what you want from life rather than just chasing a lost cause.
Exactly. And next week, we're going to talk about money.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Nice. Look forward to it.
Excellent.
See you in the next episode.
See you soon.